Hi, how you doing? This video is about my last name, Ducharme. Um, the meaning of Ducharme. So this video is kind of more for other Ducharmes, but it might give you an idea of how you can learn about your last name. You know, nowadays you can try just starting out by just Googling the meaning of your last name and Googling, like where your family came from and that. So if you Google Ducharme, it's obviously French, but it some of the places that it just depends where you look. Some places say that the meaning of the name is unknown, and so that's why I'm making this video, because if you search deep enough and you want it bad enough, that we can know a lot about the Ducharme name. Okay, so the history of the name Ducharme. That's D as in Delta, U as in Unicorn, C as in Charlie, H as in Howard, A as in Adam, R as in Robert, M as in Mary, E as in Eric. Ducharme. It looks like it's Ducharme. It looks like, but it's not Ducharme. It's Ducharme. So first of all, the origins. Okay, so our last name used to be Charon. When we were in France, we were Charon. Pierre Charon. Pierre Charon left France in a boat and came to Canada. And when he came to Canada, he was uprooting from France and moving to the New World and into Canada, and set down his roots in Canada and started the family in Canada. But at that same time, he changed his last name from Pierre Charon to Pierre Charon dit Ducharme. Dit is D as in Delta, I as in Igloo, T as in Thomas. Dit. It means also known as, like AKA, also known as. So his name became Pierre Charon dit, also known as Ducharme. Pierre Charon dit Ducharme. So he kind of, Pierre Charon, also known as Ducharme. So the name Ducharme, we learn right there, it's a French last name, but it's not a French as in like France. It's a French as in people that speak French in Canada. It's a French Canadian last name. Okay, so the Ducharme name, there might be Ducharmes in France now, but the Ducharme family were French Canadian. Okay, and then if you study the genealogy, and I have the genealogy all the way from that Pierre Charon all the way to me. I know all the names. I know the full line all the way to me, on myself. There was a bunch of people. The Pierre Charon dit Ducharme had a son. Pierre Charon dit Ducharme had a son. Pierre Charon dit Ducharme had a son. Pierre, it was just a real strong name, Pierre Charon dit Ducharme. And at one point, the Pierre Charon part, the Charon dit part ended, and at one point it just became Pierre Charon. I don't know if it was Pierre, but at one point the Charon dit part disappeared, and we just became just Ducharme. And for a long time now, the Charon dit part hasn't existed. We've been the Ducharmes for a long time. Okay, so I'm sorry. Ducharme, 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 French Canadian, French Canadian, French Canadian. At one point, a whole bunch of Ducharmes came in to live in America and became American. My family of Ducharme, we come from Massachusetts. So if you study that, a bunch of Ducharmes went in the Detroit area, and a bunch of us went into the Massachusetts area. And my family's Massachusetts. The majority, the group of us that went to Massachusetts was larger than the Detroit one. So I suppose in Detroit there would be a bunch of Ducharmes, but there's definitely a bunch of us in Massachusetts, like my family. We've been in Massachusetts for a long time now, and there's a bunch of us. So I'm in the majority as far as American Ducharmes. So we've been American now for quite a while. Not a real long time. We're French Canadian. We're a French Canadian people, but for a number of generations we've been Americans, either in Detroit or Massachusetts, mostly Massachusetts. My family's from Salem, Massachusetts, but that's because my dad's grandma married a guy from Salem. But I think she was already living in Salem. She didn't live. I don't know how she got to Salem, but she married into the family and became an Osborne, who's been in Salem, Massachusetts since forever ago, related to the John Proctor. You know, I'm a descendant of John Proctor from the Crucible. But anyway, the meaning of the name Ducharme, there are lots of French names are Dupont, paint, you know, do this, du is like in Spanish day, like day, like if you're from Boston, you know, my name's Angie. If I was from Boston, I'd be Angie Day, Boston, say, you know, Angie of or from, you know, so do means that, like that in French, it means of or from. Charme, S or CHARME, it can mean charm, like Lucky Charm, but what it really means is it means it's the hornbeam tree, the hornbeam tree. So in France, it's the French hornbeam tree is called the charme tree. So Ducharme means of the hornbeam tree. So in other words, people of the hornbeam tree. So it means people of the hornbeam tree. So I'm Angie Ducharme. I'm Angie from the people of the hornbeam tree, you know. So that's what it means. So that's where it comes from, and that's what Ducharme is.